What's up, guys? You guys came to the right place. This video will tell you everything you need to know about the OnePlus 8T versus the OnePlus Nord N10 5G. This is basically a review of all the specs, and at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly which phone you should be buying and why. Pros and cons, stuff like that. Let's go ahead and get started. So here in 2021, the OnePlus 8T versus the OnePlus Nord N10 5G. Two similar phones, two very different phones. The first thing we're going to talk about is the price. The OnePlus 8T was launched with a price tag of $750. It was a flagship type phone. Now OnePlus sells it for $600, and you can find it used for around $450 to $500. And the OnePlus Nord N10 5G is the budget king. It's just a awesome budget phone. It launched with a price tag of $300. You could find it as low as $50 on prepaid Metro here in the US. So you can get this phone as low as $50. That blows the OnePlus 8T out of the water. So that's gonna be a big difference in how I compare these devices going forward. So let's go ahead and take a deeper look. Both of these OnePlus phones were released and launched in October of 2020, so they were released around the same time. The overall dimensions is 6.3 inches tall, 2.9 inches wide, 0.33 inches thick for the 8T. For the N10, very similar, 6.4 inches tall, 2.9 inches wide, 0.35 inches thick. Similar dimensions. For the weight, very similar weight. 6.6 ounces for the AT, 6.7 ounces for the Nord N10 5G. Build quality, 8T, glass front, glass back, aluminum frame. N10 5G is glass front, plastic back, plastic frame. So better build quality, the 8T. Both of these phones, network-wise, are 5G phones, so very similar in fast speeds if you could get them. Now for the display, they both have a approximate screen size of 6.5 inches. You have a Fluid AMOLED on the 8T, IPS LCD for the N10. Now you get 120 Hertz refresh rate on the 8T, 90 Hertz on the Nord N10 5G. So a little bit refresh rate is faster for the OnePlus 8T. For the screen to body ratio, 87% on the 8T, 84% on the N10. Resolution is very similar. 1080p screens, full HD, PPI just north of 400. The 8T has an always on display as well. As for the OS, the 8T launched with Android 11 with Oxygen OS on top. The N10 is a little bit behind. It launched with Android 10, still is at Android 10 with Oxygen OS on top. Both of these versions are almost similar to each other, so all the same apps will run on both of these devices. For the chipset, the 8T Snapdragon 865, the N10 Snapdragon 690. So a little bit faster performance, better performance on the 8T, but not by much. Unless you put them head to head, they will be very much similar results with the performance. Both are pretty quick. For the storage, the internal storage both start off at 128 gigabytes, so very impressive at both fronts, especially for the $50 Nord N10 5G. Also, a bonus on the N10, it has a micro SD card slot, so a big win for the storage department on the N10 5G. Now for the RAM, the AT has 8 gigabytes while the N10 has 6 gigabytes. Both of them are good enough for most people. 8 gigabytes is perfect, 6 gigabytes will definitely do the job. Now for the cameras, the AT has a 4-camera setup, 48 megapixel main, 16 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel monochrome. N10 also with the 4-camera setup, 64 megapixel main, 8 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel depth, 2 megapixel macro. Both of these are pretty good cameras, but they are not the best. These are pretty much average, but it'll keep everybody happy. These aren't flagship level quality such as the Samsung high-end or the high-end iPhones, but you'll be happy regardless with the results. You got 4K video recording on both of these phones. For the selfie camera, you got 16 megapixel on the AT, also 16 megapixel on the N10, both record at 1080p, so okay in the department of the selfie camera. You got a headphone jack on the N10 5G, while the more expensive 8T does not have a headphone jack, which is disappointing. The N10, you could plug in your mic, your headphones and hook it up to your car via aux cord to listen to music. So a big win for the N10 in the headphone department. Both of these phones have Bluetooth 5.1. That means both of these phones will connect very good with all your wireless devices such as smartwatches, wireless headphones, and speakers, for example. Both of these phones also have NFC, which is mainly used for payment services. Both of these have a USB Type-C port, which is found on a lot of other devices such as laptops and tablets. And for unlocking and security, the 8T has a under-the-display fingerprint reader, while the N10 has a rear-mounted fingerprint reader. Both of these are good ways to unlock your device, but if I had to choose, I'd rather choose the rear-mounted. It's more reliable, more natural way of unlocking your device. For the battery, the 8T has a 4500 milliamp battery. You got 4300 on the N10 5G. These are okay average size batteries, but for 5G phones, I like to see 5,000 or more. Luckily, both of these phones offer fast charging. You got 65 watts on the 8T, fast charging 30 watts on the N10. You can charge up to 100% in 39 minutes with the fast charger on the 8T. So I gave you pretty much all you needed to know to judge these phones. We went through all the specs. And what's the conclusion? Which one is a better phone here in 2021? This review will tell you, and I'm going to say, in a nutshell, it's going to be the Nord N10 5G because price is probably at the top of my list when I compare these two. These are the biggest differences between these devices is going to be the price. You get the Nord N10 for 50 bucks. The 8T is still being sold for around 500 and up. So when you take that into consideration, the Nord N10 5G competes a lot with the 8T. You could do pretty much the same exact things except that the 8T is just a little bit faster, has a better processor. They both have the same amount of storage. They both have 5G, similar size, a little bit better build quality in the 8T. The same size screen. They both have the same resolution. You get a little bit of newer software on the 8T. The N10 is probably only going to get one release to the new software, but the 8T will probably get a few more years of support. Cameras are about the same in the quality department. You got a bonus on the N10 with that headphone jack, and you got the micro SD card slot for expandable storage. So that's another big win. And the fingerprint sensor, it depends on the person, but like I said, I like the rear-mounted fingerprint reader, just more reliable and just a better overall feel. You get faster charging than 8T, but other than that, you're gonna be able to do the same thing, runs the same apps, YouTube, everyday gaming. You got text messaging, you got all your social media, you got your maps, you got all types of stuff. You're gonna be doing the same exact things, and you won't notice that one is a $50 device and the other one is a $500 device. And at one point, it was at $750. So overall value, overall better phone here in 2021. Cop the Nord N10 5G. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.